Hello everyone, and welcome back to the woods at Lone Pine Tarot. I hope you're having a peaceful day or night wherever you are, but if you've been walking through a particularly difficult chapter lately, I hope this reading can give you a calm place to rest for a little while. Today's reading is for anyone who's been wondering lately, what comes after this time of struggle? Maybe you have been through a loss or uncertainty in general, disappointment, exhaustion, or simply a season of life that has asked more of you than you expected. So today we're looking beyond this difficult time and asking the cards, what is waiting for you on the other side of this chapter? What is beginning to unfold, and what hope might you not be able to see just yet? Let's find out. Your pile leaders of choice today are, fittingly, the Star card from 3 different tarot decks, as the Star in tarot represents just that, light after hard times. As I explain, think to yourself which of these stars calls most to you. On the left for pile 1, we have the Star from the Tarot of the Divine. In the middle for pile 2, we have the Star from the Mindscapes Tarot. And on the right for pile 3, we have the Star, or as it's known in this deck, Starlight, from the Forest of Enchantment Tarot. Pause here if you'd like a little more time to choose, but when you're ready, your timestamp is waiting in the description below. I'll see you in your reading. Hi there, pile number 1. Welcome to your reading on what is coming next after this difficult chapter. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn most to the very beautiful Star card from the Tarot of the Divine. So to begin today, we're actually going to draw from some of the other tarot decks first, just to see what Spirit wants to say to you most, first and foremost, regarding the situation that you've been in and where it is leading into this better next chapter. So first we'll pull from the Pastoral Tarot, calling on Spirit for the highest best good of pile 1 today. Could you tell me a little bit more about where pile 1 is at? What do you recognize in their situation right now? Thank you. Okay, I'm feeling very drawn to this top one in the middle. We have, Strength card. Very cute. We have 2 mountain lions. It looks like a mother and her cub, or cougar as they're known in some other contexts. And it's very telling that this is the depiction of strength in this deck, because it almost looks like, I can't tell quite if it's been a forest fire or if it's just after winter's grasp, but for whatever reason, the forest around them seems kind of dead, except right where they are, sitting in a shaft of light, and finally it's like that greenery is coming about. So that's very telling, pile 1, that Spirit is basically saying they see your situation that you've been having this difficult time with as really a time of survival, a time of struggle, a time of having to lean in on your greatest strength. Perhaps some of you are seeing yourselves, even especially in the way that it's like a mother or a parent having to take care of a child. Maybe you've been struggling, through something with your kids if you have children. Or could also be, sometimes I see children in the symbolism of tarot cards as not just literal children, though they can be, of course, but sometimes also as like projects that we've been trying to work on, like kind of a baby in some way, even if not a literal one, like I said. So whatever you've been going through, Spirit is commending you for the strength that you've had, and especially strength not just, of course, in the physical way, because the tarot card of strength is more about internal courage and internal willpower to withstand even when life gets really tough. And I see that either forest fire or just the death of the woods around them, except in the very shaft of light that they're sitting in, as like, I don't know, it's like you went through like a really big change in your environment, or like a really big devastating kind of disaster with what happened around either your living situation or like your job or your career, things like that. But finally we see the shaft of light coming through, and like I said, the greenery finally coming to the woods as well. So that tells me that Spirit is saying that there is, of course, that peak of light. As the title of the reading says, we are asking about, what's the hope coming after this dark time. So it's shining upon the mother and her child, right? Her parent and her child, or there, I should say. So let's see what else Spirit wants to say about this situation. Okay, that one really wanted to come out, so we'll pick that. You have been a tough cookie, pile 1. We have Beautiful the Moon as your second card, which is often about illusions or mysteries. And then the first one that popped out, we have the Eight of Swords reversed. Very beautiful energy, especially if you've been feeling quite trapped by this situation too. Because upright, the Eight of Swords would mean, oh, we feel kind of constricted. We feel like we're stuck in a cage, but reversed, it's like, okay, now we can move out of this mental cage. We can move out of this feeling of restriction. So not only is this peak of light coming for you, pile one, but Spirit is also saying there's like a freeing of the mind as well. So that makes me wonder too if recently you've been going through a sort of depression or like a sadness, of course, related to whatever the struggle has been, the loss. Some of you might have even literally like lost somebody, which of course my condolences is so deeply, pile one, because that can also bring us down to like a lower or emotional or mental state, of course, when we're grieving. Okay, so it's like finally that prison unlocks of mental stress and emotional stress. And then it's very interesting because we have the moon. And as I said when I first pulled that out, the moon is about, there's an illusion, there's a mystery here. We'll see what your other cards say. I'm very curious as to see what that mystery, so to speak, is. So let's first grab your oracle cards, and then we'll grab your main tarot spread at the very end. So we're going to ask from the Power of Surrender deck what Spirit wants to say to you about this situation, this next chapter. There might be something kind of misleading about the next chapter with the moon, and I don't mean that in a negative way, pile one, but there's some sort of mystery hanging over it because of that moon card. And then from the surrender deck, we have surrender, low self-esteem, beautiful sunflower coming through. It says at the bottom here, you deserve success, love, and abundance. Set an intention to identify and release any remnants of low self-esteem. Okay, so there's also something about this next chapter coming for you where your self-esteem is going to have an opportunity to boost again. Because naturally, you know, when we're feeling down or maybe a bit depressed or when we're struggling, it's normal. I think everybody's gone through this, myself included, where if we're down on our luck, we're feeling like we're not accomplishing something or we've lost someone or something. Normally, it's completely normal to be like, I don't feel very good about myself. I don't feel as if I'm doing my best. And that's the thing, is Spirit is saying you have been doing your best with the cards that life has dealt you, pile one, okay? And this next chapter is that blossoming of sunlight, that blossoming of the sunflower in terms of, you know, because when you think of sunflowers, right, they're not shy flowers. They're not little tiny violets. They're not little tiny white clovers. They're not hiding away in a patch of grass. They're very big and in your face and like, look at me, okay? So I wonder too if part of this next chapter is an opportunity for you not just to boost your self-esteem, of course, right? On the surface it says that, but also a time of an opportunity for you to shine, for you to like stand out in some way, okay? Once again, it makes me think of the shaft of light hitting the mountain lion / the cougar pair here. It's like you finally being able to stand out. I wonder if some of the struggle has been like, you wanted something to get noticed or you wanted yourself to get noticed, but you've been having a really hard time with that. I know, especially with the job market right now, that's very prominent, like having a hard time standing out amongst all the other people applying for jobs and like having your resume stand out, things like that. Or, you know, maybe you work in like acting and you're having a hard time finding roles and getting accepted, or same thing with writing, getting your manuscript accepted, something along those lines. It's like finally being noticed in some way. I wouldn't be shocked if you get, say, the Six of Wands in your main tarot spread today, but let's look at your Healing Spirits Oracle before we pull the main tarot cards. Oh, we have number 40. If the world around you seems turbulent, stop. Okay, that's another aspect of this next chapter after this difficult time, is that I think a lot of the stress of what's been going on has been about how turbulent, as the card says it, you know, it's been so chaotic. It's really another good synonym for turbulent. It's like, I mean, I picture you intuitively here, pile one, as having walked through this really windy, it's odd. It's like you've been walking on the edge of like a really high fall. And on top of that, there's been like wind buffeting you. I mean, obviously not literally, but like in terms of intuitive symbolism, I see that as like, not only have you had to walk like a really hard, kind of scary line just to survive and get through, but it's like other factors kept blustering against you with that wind, like, so to speak. And so finally, this next chapter is, we can take a breath, we can calm down, things aren't quite as turbulent. It won't feel like walking a tightrope or the edge of, it's kind of odd. I see almost like you walking on like the edge of a castle, kind of like up on the, I guess you technically call those ramparts, something like that. You know what I mean? Like the little turreted teeth around the edge of a castle. You don't have to walk that edge anymore. And finally, it's a time of peace. And I also see lots of symbolism in the colors that we've had so far, pile one. We have a lot of that kind of orange and yellow popping forward, not just, of course, in the shaft of light with strength, but yellow and orange with the sunflower and yellow and orange with your healing spirits oracle today about, the turbulence finally stopping. And so I almost wonder, too, if you might get the sun card as well in your main tarot spread. And two, on top of that, the orange and yellow symbolism to me, I'm hearing creativity. I wonder if a lot of you have been having creative blocks recently too because of like a lowered emotional mental state. Of course, when we're depressed, we're not really quite as creative as we normally would be had we, had a little bit happier of a mental or emotional state, right? And so it's like this fire energy comes back and finally we can open up again. We feel like we can be creative again. We feel like we have our passion reignited once more. Because right now they're showing me that it's been like the things that you've been doing, it feels like you've been working with ash. Like you feel as if there's no fire there, but you still have to construct something or you still have to produce something. And so you're like, well, okay, I can try to make these things out of this ash. But thinking about how we build a fire, right? Pile one, it's at least from my knowledge, like I've never been able to build a fire out of ash. Usually you have to have kindling and you have to have a wood or a log for the fire to catch on after it bites away at the kindling and newspaper or paper or whatever. And it's like running out of those resources, running out of that fuel to keep that fire burning, whether it be literally physically in a tangible way or that inner fire, like I was saying, of, depression or stress and things and whatnot. So that fire comes back. It just feels like a breath of fresh air after a really difficult time for you, okay? And it's almost like moving from a gray world into one that's much more colorful again. I wonder if you have been going through depression, because I see that intuitively a lot, pile one, when I see like someone's world has been a bit gray. That's how Spirit tells me that someone's been kind of depressed, okay, or kind of down emotionally. So that's what it feels like to me, at least. Not fun whatsoever, but I'm happy to report it looks like things are going to get a lot better here. So let's look at your main tarot spread. Okay, Spirit, what else do you want to tell pile one about their situation right now, as well as what's coming in the next chapter? I'm also curious if we'll hear more about the illusion of the moon. Okay, we have first up, Judgment. Wonderful. We literally have the card of leveling up, moving into the next world. So it's very fitting for kind of a next chapter, what's coming next reading. But on top of that, I think is the inciting incident card. I like to call my first card in this spread. I use as my main one. A lot of the struggle has been around you trying to get to the next level. I don't know if it's like you've been trying to get a promotion or trying to like move up in the world in terms of like a better living situation, or in terms of making more money, or in terms of like getting to a higher level of like spiritual advancement. Like if you've been working on like spiritual type things, it really just depends on what your goals have been, pile one. That can be so different for so many different people, but Spirit is acknowledging that yes, we know that you've been working hard on trying to get to a better place. We see that here. That's really what fueled this whole trajectory of this difficult time into this new chapter where things are going to get better, okay? And then we have in the second position, the Queen of Swords reversed. Okay, so this is it really depends on how you interpret this card. So Queen of Swords can be a person, and reversed a Queen of Swords person can mean someone that is feminine, air sign, but has negative energy. And even if they're not a feminine air sign, usually Queen of Swords reversed person is someone who is kind of ruthless. They're kind of cold. They're very unemotional in the way that they take action and the way that they they're just kind of brutal, I guess. And so sometimes, especially too with the air element association of the Queen of Swords reversed, it can mean that they're very cutting with their tongue, or they communicate very poorly. Okay, so some of you, a lot of the struggles might have revolved around a person like that, but if you're not recognizing that as someone that's been influencing the situation, that can also mean that the general energy has been a feeling internally of, well, Queen of Swords reversed internal energy would be like like not sure even how to plan for the future, even how to communicate what we want deep down inside, because it's where air meets our internal energy. And it's just like, very odd. It's, once again, I'm kind of weird metaphor here, but I say it because sometimes it resonates. Like, I'll say this is a weird symbol, but then when you guys comment down below, you're like, oh, I know what that's referencing, so I say it. They're showing me bagpipes for some reason. All right, very beautiful instrument, but kind of random. But of course, in order to play bagpipes or like any kind of wind related instrument, you need a lot of air in order to blow the pipes, right? Or, you know, to sing, or, you know, if you do singing or whatever other kind of air related things. Anyways, bagpipes are the example they mentioned, so that's what I'm saying. But for you, this Queen of Swords reverse energy is like feeling as if there was no air to draw from to even make a noise. Like, it's been a very quiet time, but not quiet necessarily in a good way. It's just been quiet in terms of, like, I don't know, you feel kind of dead inside. That's what they're saying to me, at least. And then we move into here, the present position with the Ten of Pentacles reversed. Okay, so that tends to mean either, too, that there's been some struggles with different generations in your family, or, like, generational trauma that's been passed down as well. Maybe that's a lot of what you've been trying to work through, too, pile one. And or it can mean we're having a hard time getting to the zenith of our goals related to career stability or resources. Okay, and so that's really what Spirit is saying with this being in the present position. This is kind of what you're working through right now. I think maybe you already kind of worked through some of the emotional stuff, or at least most of it. You already kind of were like, okay, I want to move forward. I want to get to the higher level. I want to be able to finally like dream and plan again and feel that inspiration spark again. And then now you're more into the tangible of it. Like, okay, how am I going to bring this about to fruition to get to where I want to go to achieve this goal? Okay, that's kind of what I see with the Ten of Pentacles reversed, especially if it's not, you know, necessarily related to family struggles, although it might be for some of you, right? And now we're going to move into the future here. So the future is, we have the Tower. Okay, hear me out, pile one. Because if you are familiar with tarot, at first you're going to say that looks very scary. But just hear me out. Let's look at the final outcome card before we say for sure. We have, okay, Justice reversed. So right now, oh boy, this is kind of a twist of a reading. Hear me out. I'm going to ask Spirit exactly how they want me to word this. Okay, so I'm not going to sugarcoat pile one. There are good things coming. However, the Tower in the near future usually means there is a massive change coming about. All right? And oftentimes that scares us when we hear that at first, because we think, uh-oh, especially because the Tower can traditionally be depicted as, oh no, there's a disaster, right? The thing is that when we have Tower moments in life, it's usually because it falls because it was built on shaky foundations in the first place. A tower that is built strongly is one that does not fall. So therefore, when it does fall or there is a massive change, it's usually because it's clearing room for something better to be built. I think, and I'm hearing from Spirit right now, a lot of this Tower is actually kind of self-inflicted. And when I say that, what I mean is it's like a lot of the process you've been going through at this difficult time is understanding and trying to plan for going like this massive change. Okay, so I think a lot of you might already kind of know what the massive change is going to be, and that's why it's been so hard to like break through and finally just commit to this massive change, because you know this is going to create a whirlwind of a lot of newness, a lot of different things occurring, a lot of cleaning the slate for better things to come about. Now, what's interesting is you got Justice reversed in the end. So that can mean technically that you are on a path or a trajectory towards something being kind of unfair in the end. But hear me out. I'm going to draw a clarifier on that just so I kind of know what Spirit means by that. So Spirit, what do you mean by the unfairness in the end with Justice? And remember, there's good things coming too, as I said. There's going to be opportunities for you to be able to shine. Your self-esteem will go better, or will get better. Things will be a bit less chaotic, at least especially after the Tower moment. But I think a lot of you, I'm hearing, you know what this change is. It's like I'm hearing a lot of you might not be really shocked by that, okay? So yeah, let's ask about the Justice here. We have the Tower again. Massive change, pile one. Okay, the Tower with Justice reversed, and then We have the Star reversed. Oh, you know what it is? You have a fear. There's something from your past related to the difficulties that you've been going through, pile 1, that you feel has been unfair, or there's been an injustice, I can't talk today, injustice of some sort. And Spirit here is saying, yes, it's not that you're misperceiving injustice. There is injustice there. However, they're telling me sometimes we can get caught up in the idea of, before moving on, we need 100% justice for something before we walk forward with our lives, okay? There's something about this where I think, especially for those of you who know what the big, massive change is, like you know that it's coming, or you know you're going to embark on that soon, there's a slight fear and hesitation there, though, because I'm hearing you feel as if, well, if I move forward and leave that behind, I'm not going to get the justice that I want for something. Now, I'm not sure what the injustice is. It could be like maybe you feel as if by walking forward and leaving something behind that, you know, someone gets away with something that they did to you that was bad, or you feel as if like say if it's like leaving a certain job that they haven't been treating you very well, it kind of feels like, well, yeah, I might be able to leave, but it feels like I'm getting punished for what they did that forced me out of there. It's something along those lines, and that might not resonate with all of you. But what Spirit is saying is, the Tower having come up twice here, pile 1, the only way you're going to get justice in the end is by allowing the change to occur, and that will help you see through the darkness right now, because you got the Star reversed here as another clarifier, and that usually means that we've lost hope or faith in something. That also tells me, too, is that there might be room for justice on the other side of this massive change if you're willing to embrace the Tower moment. By not embracing it, that's why justice is reversed right now in terms of your outcome. But by embracing change and welcoming it, that is what will clear the slate and usher in this time of greater sunlight, of greater freedom, of greater self-esteem, of greater peace. So we all talked about those other things that are coming in this new chapter, okay? But in order to allow those better things in, you have to let go of the old, okay? It's very much so, it really depends on what part of the world you're in right now, but at least where I'm at, we're kind of slowly heading into autumn here, and we're in August. We're still in summer technically, but it's like that metaphor of in autumn, finally the trees let their leaves away. And at first, those leaves falling makes things look very stark, very bare. It feels kind of cold, right? But that's because it's preparing for the winter, for a time of healing and hibernation, so that things can grow again better in the spring and the next year. Okay, like just to use kind of that seasonal metaphor. So right now it's like you're moving into an autumn, and you feel as if by moving into the autumn and embracing it, that massive change, that there's something that you're going to lose. But the only way you're going to get the change that you're looking for is to embrace this seemingly kind of scary thing, this massive change, so that the universe can bring about better things in the future that will help right the wrongs of the past, okay? That's what they're telling me explicitly to tell you, okay? So I know that looks scary. You saw the Tower, and if you're familiar with tarot, you're probably like, uh-oh, this is supposed to be like an inspiring reading. And I know at first, yes, we see the Tower and we think, uh-oh, disaster, big change, things are falling apart. But as I said, in order to make room for better in the future, sometimes we have to let go and let the things that don't serve us anymore fall. That's exactly what the Tower is about, and very fitting that the Star was the main pile leader today, because the Star is exactly what comes right after the Tower in the sequence of the major arcana, because it is that light after the time of the darkness and the massive change of the Tower. So Spirit is saying, yes, massive change is coming, but you're going to weather through it. I think that's also why Strength was the first card that came through. They know you can survive it, pile 1. They know you can get through it, because you already have gone through probably even harder things, okay? Based on what I'm at least picking up on intuitively. And it'll be so much better afterwards, okay? So that's the illusion, I think, that was in the moon. Because at first I was kind of like, well, what's this illusion, Spirit? What are you talking about? The illusion is that staying, you think staying will grant you what you're looking for. But actually, the illusion is by letting go, you'll find exactly what you were trying to grasp onto. Does that kind of make sense? All right. So, it'll be okay, pile 1. All right. It's good change. Okay? It's good change, so embrace it. Sometimes we have to embrace the storm in order to feel the peace of it on the other side. Okay? And peace is coming. Wonderful. Okay, well, that was your reading today, pile 1, on what's coming next for you after this difficult chapter. Lots of good changes towards positive things, and you have the exact strength you need to survive it, to get through, and you'll be just fine. So I'm hearing that very strongly here from Spirit. I hope the reading, well, number 1, helped you. I hope the tower didn't scare everybody away and they clicked off really quick, but if you didn't click off, of course, you're still here. So thank you for staying and hearing me out as the tarot reader today. Good on you. Good, and thank you for that. And then also, I hope you liked it. I hope that the reading also resonated. And if so, please like, please comment, please subscribe if you haven't done so already. And thank you so much if you choose to do those things here as your reading wraps up. And as we say in our tradition on the channel, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day or your night, pile 1. And I hope to see you again in the woods someday soon. Bye. Hi there, pile number 2. Welcome today to your reading on what is coming next for you after this difficult chapter. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to the very beautiful Mindscapes tarot version of the star, where we have, it looks almost like a canyon with a doe and her fawn at the very bottom right. And very timely for the time of year, at least, that this video is being uploaded, we have a shooting star because I don't know if you guys have already seen it, but the Perseids meteor shower is going on right now. I believe it's the most vibrant in terms of the number of meteor shower of the year. So at least in the Northern Hemisphere. I don't know if our Southern Hemisphere friends particularly see that one. I'm not sure, but at least here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's very, very beautiful this time of year in terms of meteor showers. So perhaps you've already seen it. Feel free to weigh down in the comments below if you've already kind of watched the Perseids. I don't know if it has hit its peak yet. I don't remember exactly what date, but either way. Anyways, meteor showers aside, let's talk about your reading. First, we're going to draw from other tarot decks just to ask Spirit at the very beginning here how they see the situation or the difficult time that you're coming from. So, Spirit, for the highest best good of pile 2, tell us more. How do you see their situation? Okay, we have, ooh, it looks like the sun with the sunflowers at the very top. She's got a butterfly on her arm. Interesting twist, because usually the sun means a time of happiness, but it can also be a time of truth-seeking because of its association with light. So I almost wonder if a lot of you here in pile 2 have been trying to find the truth of something or trying to find your happiness. It almost kind of makes me think of the way sunflowers actually will like move their heads towards the sun wherever it is in the sky at the time. So it's like following the light, following the truth, following happiness. But maybe we've been having some struggles achieving that. That's what I'm hearing. But of course, we'll look at your other cards from the Pocket Tarot today. See what else Spirit has to say. We've got the 8 of Wands reversed. I think part of the issue, the difficulty has been it's been slow. Because the 8 of Wands, my friends, is often, reversed at least, is often a card of things are kind of stagnating or they're not going as fast as we want them to. It feels like there's been a delay of some sort. Maybe this literally like a delay in terms of a happiness that you've been seeking, a delay in terms of the truth that you've been seeking. And then we have, for your second one, the 9 of Cups. And the 9 of Cups often actually would be a positive card because it means emotional satisfaction, that a wish has been granted. Also, sometimes it means luxury, at least in terms of the resources around us giving us an emotional satisfaction, just like this dog sitting very primly on this cushion, right? So that makes me think, pile 2, on top of, the search that you've been going through for happiness, following the sun, and also possibly the light of a truth of some sort. It's like you want that 9 of Cups energy. You want that comfort. You want that, not necessarily luxury, although that might kind of come along with the success, but it's like it's like you want that emotional satisfaction, but there's been such a strong delay with that Eight of Wands reversed. And I'm hearing intuitively is that there's a part of you saying, well, it would make sense that by this point I would have gotten that thing or that truth or that happiness. But for some reason, it's like it just keeps getting delayed. Like there's a timing element here where it's like I hear you saying to yourself, why hasn't it happened yet? Why? Like, why is this taking so long? Why? And I don't know if you're judging it by, like, your age, pile 2, or you're judging it by the amount of effort that you have put in. Because that's another thing, is oftentimes we judge the results of things based on, well, how much effort have I put in, therefore I should be getting this amount of response from the universe or my manifestation out, right? It's something along those lines where you're saying to yourself too, like, well, by this age I should have had this or should have done this, ABC, XYZ, something along those lines. And then from your Healing Spirits Oracle we have, oopsie, if the card won't come out, apparently it doesn't want to come out. Okay, this is where it comes in. That makes sense as to why I was picking up on that. You are on the right path, number 26, pile 2. You are on the right path. You might be doubting because of this difficult chapter. You might be doubting the path that you're on. You might be wondering, well, is this really meant for me if I haven't gotten there yet? Am I really supposed to manifest or have this thing or find this emotional satisfaction if I haven't gotten there yet? It's like you're judging its rightness for you based on how fast or quickly it has come, or it has not come, I guess, technically in this case, right? But, and I look at this card specifically and it's like literally, I don't know, some of you, it feels like you have gone off the beaten path because you see so many of these figures here reaching for this brighter light. It almost makes me think of like, this is like the societally accepted path. And then I see like you here reaching for a different path outside of the main path that every other spirit is going to. But it's funny because they're, in the end, after they get to the one that they're going to, eventually they get to this one anyways. It's like you wanted to, like, turbocharge the speed it took you to get, like, a degree, or turbocharge the speed it took you to get to a certain title, or to a certain place in life. And it's like you think, well, everybody else is getting what they want, or everybody else is getting there, but how come I'm not? Those are the thoughts that I'm hearing from you, pile 2, collectively here. And once again, it might be disappointing to hear, but Spirit is saying you are on the right path. And I know that's really easy to doubt because we do, as humans, often measure the rightness of the path that we're walking based on the tangible reality of what we have accumulated from it or what we have achieved on it. But you're being told that the achievement here, although there will be achievements externally, right? There always are, at least with things that, we accomplish in life. But the achievement more, the grander one, is a spiritual one. Because that's kind of what I was seeing with that card is, everybody's reaching for the tangible benefit of this path, right? The societally accepted path of like, okay, do this thing and then buy a house, or do this thing, find spouse, or do this thing and have this title that is shiny or whatever. You know what I mean? The things that we yearn for as humans, okay? We yearn for validation, we yearn for acceptance, we yearn for achievement, all those things. But it's like, you're meant to, on this path, and especially in this next chapter, achieve more than just that tangible thing. You're on the path of achieving the greater spiritual achievement with it. There's a spiritual lesson here. We'll see what the other cards say. They might give us a glimpse into what that spiritual lesson is, but I can tell you, I mean, as a tarot reader, intuitively picking up on your energy pile too, this is giving me like a dead ringer for this is related to a life purpose of yours, okay? And when I say life purpose, I mean one of the reasons, at least the way I believe in reincarnation, personally, one of the reasons you incarnated in this particular lifetime, okay? And then we have surrender denial. Okay, this is very similar. I apologize, it's kind of repetitive, but hear me out, pile 2. It says, accept people and situations exactly as they are. Asterisk, even if you haven't gotten to what you wanted to get to yet. Okay. Without denying the difficulties. Then you can see things clearly and make the best decisions. And it almost looks like she's not in a field of sunflowers. It almost kind of looks like wheat to me, or some sort of grain, but it is like being in a field of like yellow plants. Makes me think of the sun picture at the very top. And Spirit is saying you're supposed to enjoy this particular delay. I know that sounds odd, and you're going to probably click off the reading when I say that. You're like, oh my God, Lone Pine, how dare you? No, but like, not enjoy the difficulties. I don't mean that, and Spirit doesn't mean that when, you know, I'm saying that for Spirit today to you. But it's like they're saying you're supposed to derive a satisfaction here out of the process. Here, I'm going to tap in intuitively, not just, well, of course, we'll pick your main tarot spread here at right pile too, but let me tap in intuitively for 1 second, because I want to hear more direct words. Just one moment here. They're saying the word succor, like Succor, I believe is how you spell it. And I can't remember for the life of me exactly what that means, but I think, like, usually it means like pleasure or like nourishment in some way. I'll leave a definition down below beneath where your timestamp is for your reading. Also, too, if anyone wants to weigh down in the comments, please do that as well if you want to leave the definition of succor. But it's like, so they're saying that word, and then on top of that, they're also saying, because I'm asking why the delay. Yeah, life purpose, number 1, neon flashing sign. And oddly, they're also showing me, like, you setting a table pile too. Like, they're saying you need to set the table for the main course. So there's an element to this delay where you're learning how to prepare for a main course of some sort. Now, literally, that might be, I don't know, maybe some of you are like working on a business related to a restaurant, serving food, but if not literally, it can also mean like a main course in terms of like education, like literally taking a course. Maybe like you wanted to get 1 degree done faster so that you could get the next one done quicker as well, but it's like the first one's taking a bit longer than you expected, so they might mean course in terms of a class. Either way, it's like they're saying you're prepping and you're speeding through, or trying to, the benefit of enjoying the appetizers and learning how to set the stage and set the table before you can dig into the main meal. Okay, so I'll leave at least that part of the message at that. They're not saying much more on that, but let's do grab your tarot cards, your main spread. So Spirit, for pile 2, what else do you want to say about this situation, and also like the next chapter? Because that's like kind of the main thing with this reading, is what's the next chapter after this time of difficulty? We have the 2 of Cups. Okay. So I do see something about harmonious relationships here, pile 2. The 2 of Cups is, so if you have been, for those of you that have been maybe like waiting for love or waiting for a good partner, 2 of Cups is a very good sign here that the next chapter will bring you one. Okay. Or that you'll meet them at least. And yes, it might have taken you longer than other people, but that doesn't mean that that main course will taste worse just because it took longer for you to get there. Does that make sense? They're saying, you know, like they're literally saying, well, this is so weird. It's funny though. They're saying you could have rushed and gotten Kraft mac and cheese, which, not to hate on Kraft mac and cheese. Sometimes a girl just needs some good Kraft mac and cheese. But in terms of like, I don't know, I love mac and cheese, but you could have rushed and gotten Kraft mac and cheese. But by waiting, you're setting yourself up for getting steak instead, is what they're saying. I don't know why there's so many food references here in this reading, but I don't mind. Hey, food's good. And then next we have the Hierophant. Okay, we have the card of tradition, of spiritual authority, the way things have always been done. There's also an element here too of living a bit more of a traditional lifestyle in the next chapter. I don't know if some of you are maybe moving to either like a place that your ancestors culturally lived or like your family lived in. Maybe you grew up and like you're moving back there. Or it could also mean too that part of this new chapter is you doing something more traditional. You know, maybe that's part of it. For those of you looking for a relationship, maybe the delay has been because you wanted a more traditional relationship and you feel as if there just aren't a lot of people out there right now that you've at least been meeting that want the same kind of traditional thing that you do. And, or two, if it's, even if it's not related to a relationship pile too, if it's more like you've been trying to find some sort of success with, like, say, education or a job or career, things like that as well. It could be too that it's like you're moving to something more traditional or old-fashioned. Okay? In a good way, because the Hierophant is upright. It could also be some sort of spiritual work as well. Because the Hierophant does have a very distinct spiritual element too. And then we have the Page of Swords reversed, which is kind of the present position, as well as the overall feeling on the matter, the heart of the matter. I like to call this part of my spread. And that makes me think, Pile 2, that, okay, so for a lot of you, this might be literally related to education because, as I said in previous readings, if you watch my channel before, the Page of Swords reversed can mean that we're having some struggles regarding education because that's like the quintessential student card when it's upright. All right. Maybe being unsure of where to go, unsure of where to point our direction in terms of our intellect and our focus of learning. Okay. It could also mean, too, that we have been going through some struggles here in trying to decide exactly, even if it's not related to education, where do we want to point our mind next? What do we want to explore next? Because I think this delay and this wait has kind of thrown you for a loop, and that's why you're kind of stuck in this feeling of, you know, like maybe I should change direction. Like maybe I'm not on the right path because I haven't found success yet with this thing or what I'm trying to yearn for. Hence, you know, the Healing Spirits Oracle we talked about earlier. But I can tell you, Pile 2, you are on the right path, as that card said. So don't doubt what your heart yearns for just because it feels like either society or your mind tells you that's not possible or that's not the way that you should want something or yearn for something. Okay, I'm also being told that message very explicitly as well from Spirit to you today. Okay. And then we have the Five of Wands reversed, okay, near future position card as well. And it's very interesting because this Five of Wands is a forest where they've grown a little bit too clustered together, the trees, and so someone took an axe and is kind of clearing them out so there's less competition. And that's literally what the Five of Wands reversed means, is less competition. So that makes me think that in the next chapter as well, there's going to be less competition for the things that you have been yearning for, whatever it is you've been seeking, be it, you know, relationship, you know, maybe acceptance to like a study program, or less competition for maybe like a job that you've been trying to find too. That's a really good sign in terms of finding a job as well. As less competition literally means that you stand out and you probably get picked, right? So just know that it's going to feel a little bit less claustrophobic in this next chapter too. Excuse me, my voice got scratchy. It's going to get less claustrophobic. It's going to feel more open. You know, it's funny because actually we do see a lot of like open fields in your cards, not just in the Sun, but in the Hierophant. And then also the open sea with the Two of Cups, open skies with the Page of Swords, and then of course to the field with Surrender, Denial. Being in that wide open field, you're moving away from this dark kind of clustered wood. You know, everything is a little bit claustrophobic to now here's this new horizon of opportunities. I always kind of see fields as a symbol of here's what's possible. There's nothing standing in your way, right? There's no obstacles getting in the way, okay? And then, last but not least, we have the Two of Wands reversed. Interesting twist as the outcome. Now, typically that would mean a struggle with planning things, but in this case, it can mean not having to plan so much. I'm actually going to draw a clarifier on that from Spirit just to see for sure. Spirit, what do you mean by the Two of Wands reversed? Here's the outcome for them in the next chapter. Oopsie. Okay, well that was quick. That one just flew right out. Queen of Wands reversed. Okay. And then we have the Five of Pentacles. Okay. Um, let me think about that for just 1 second here, pile 2. Because the Two of Wands reverse is usually about not having to plan for the future or not having plans. Not being able to make plans because of a lack of confidence in your stability with finances or career. You, pile 2. Oh, what an interesting twist. I'm sorry I'm hesitating so much because I just want to make sure I'm reading this correctly. I'm going to also just tap into Spirit here for 1 second. Spirit, you're throwing me for a loop. What does this mean? Lacking confidence. Okay. Oh. So this is a bit of advice for your next chapter, pile 2. Sorry, it took me a while to get there. Finally clicked. I'm like, oh, it's advice, right? When you get to this next chapter, remember what I said about the field? Oh, it's going to be so wide and open. There's opportunities and possibilities everywhere. However, this depends on you. You need to work on your confidence, pile 2, because of that Queen of Wands reversed. A Queen of Wands reversed is usually a sign from Spirit, hey, you need to kind of feel a little bit more confident, which is easier said than done, I understand. But the problem is that when you get to that field of opportunity, things open up to you in the next chapter that allow progress towards your goals that felt delayed earlier. You've been stuck in scarcity mindset with this slow progress for so long that you're just going to expect hardship. That's why the Five of Pentacles came up, especially in the the realm of financial security, stability, things like that, because that's usually what the Five of Pentacles is about. That does not mean that that is the truth, though, because Spirit basically is saying with the Two of Wands reversed, you have the opportunity to make plans and make that progress. It's just that there might be a bit of a mindset that holds you back from seeing that next chapter as an open field for opportunities. Because you've been seeing claustrophobic woods and trees in your way for so long, that's what you're going to expect to come in the next chapter. Spirit is saying, think of it in broader opportunities and terms when this next chapter rolls around, because there's so much more available to you than you give yourself and the universe credit for when this time comes around, okay? So they're just warning you, pile 2, because they want what's best for you. They're saying, don't limit yourself because of a lack of confidence from seeing life in this next chapter as an open field of opportunities rather than as the same old, oh God, I feel like I'm stuck and I'm claustrophobic in this little box that I've been stuck in kind of mentality and mindset. Okay, not to say that the box hasn't been there up until this point. Okay, we did see that delay with the Eight of Wands reversed. It's not like Spirit is saying that you imagine the box so far and the confinement so far. It's just that if you continue believing that you're in a box after the box has already been opened, you're going to continue being stuck in the box because of a lack of confidence. Okay, so if there's any piece of advice you walk away from this reading from in this next chapter, it's believe in yourself, pile 2, okay? Believe in yourself and plan for the future when that field metaphorically opens up for you, and that is where you will find your path out of the difficulty that you've been going through, okay? So good things are coming. You're on the right path. They're not telling you that you're straying. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. This is a life purpose thing to remember. Okay? It's just that sometimes there are delays because, as I said before with the metaphor, we need to learn to appreciate the appetizers and set the table before we can get to the main course. Yeah, you could have rushed for Kraft mac and cheese, as I said before. You could have. And don't get me wrong, mac and cheese is great. I don't know anybody that hates it, but sometimes good things come to those who wait. So instead of just going for the mac and cheese like maybe everybody else did, you wait for the steak, and then who's smiling in the end? The person stuck with Kraft mac and cheese or the person that has the steak, right? Okay, so keep that in mind. Just because it was delayed, just because you feel left behind, doesn't mean that you took the wrong path. Doesn't mean that it won't be worth it in the end. Okay? So be confident in your choices. Be confident in your path. Beautiful. So that was your reading today from for you, pile 2. I was going to say from pile 2. Blah, blah. From spirit to you, pile 2 is what I meant to say. I hope that you, number one, liked it, that it helped you. Of course, that's my main goal. Also, that it resonated with your situation. And if so, please like, please comment, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And thank you very much if you choose to do those things as your reading wraps up to a close here. And as we say in our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day or your night, pile 2. And I hope to see you again in the woods someday soon. Bye-bye. Hi there, pile number 3. Welcome today to your reading on what's coming next for you after this difficult chapter. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to the wonderfully fantastical Forest of Enchantment Tarot, and specifically its Star or Starlight card. Now, we're actually going to put this back into the deck and pull from other tarot decks to start. Just to ask Spirit right away, how did they see the current difficult situation that you're going through? And that will naturally, of course, lead into the next chapter and how it will get better from here. So, Spirit, for the highest best good of pile 3, could you tell me a little bit more about how do you see this situation that they're going through, or this chapter that they have been in so far? How do you perceive it? Thank you. We have the 9 of Cups. The card of wishes granted, or specifically it looks like someone who's making a wish. She's probably about ready to throw either a penny or something down the well. She's got flowers in her hand, maybe that's what she's going to put down there. A wishing well. So the difficulty, Spirit is saying, is something regarding a thing that you have been wishing for. Now, obviously, when we think of difficulties plus wishes, usually that means we've been having a struggle accomplishing or getting the wishes that we have been asking for. Okay, we'll see, of course, more with the mini pocket tarot, but standing at the well, wishing for something. And what is that figure in the background? Oh, sorry, it's just a leaf off the side of the tree. It almost kind of looked like there was a person in the field in the back. I was like, wait a minute, who's that? Anyway, Spirit, what else do you want to say about... Okay. Cards almost fell out, but not quite. Okay, there's one. We have the Knight of Cups. Speaking of dreams, we literally have the Court card in tarot that means someone taking action towards their dreams based on their heart and their emotions. Sometimes it can mean, too, that it's something that we kind of have this romantic ideal about, something that maybe you've been dreaming about for a very long time. In fact, I wonder, you guys kind of give me Pisces energy. I feel like Pisces, every Pisces I've ever known has been kind of that dreamy sort of person where... like, they kind of get caught in daydreams, they get kind of caught in, and I don't mean this in a negative way, obviously. I'm a big daydreamer myself, so when I say daydreaming, I mean in a positive way, but especially this thing that you have been yearning for, working for, it feels like something that you daydream a lot about. It's that, even if you aren't a Pisces pile 3, it's that Pisces energy of imagining it. And even though there's lots of that dreamy energy, the Knight usually means you're taking action towards it. So it's like, I think you've already tried to make steps towards this. And then we have, more water energy with Temperance reversed. Kind of makes me think of Cancer, too, being, the crab, of course. Cancer. Also a water sign. You might be a water sign. And then we have the Wishing Well, which, of course, also makes me think of water. Maybe you are a water sign, pile 3. Anyways, astrology aside, excuse me. My voice got scratchy there. Astrology aside is what I meant to say. The Temperance reversed card usually means something's been kind of out of balance, something's been out of moderation. Makes me think, too, of a lot of this difficulty in this recent chapter has been, I'm hearing feast or famine. It feels like a lot of the recent chapter for you has been ups and downs, like maybe some wishes have been granted, and you'll have a week where things have just been so stellar and wonderful, and then some weeks it's been like utter, just a hell pit compared of like, oh man, like this thing's going wrong, and I didn't get this thing accomplished that I wanted to, or I didn't get this thing I was wanting. It's like, for some reason, there's this imbalance there. It's this lack of moderation, as Temperance reverse tends to speak of. And especially, too, I wonder if it's like this is really odd. Have you been Is this even possible? Have you been, like, accidentally manifesting things too, pile 3? Like, you'll ask the universe or, like, work towards something. Or you could ask the universe for something, and it's like you get it in, like, a weird way that you didn't really, that's not the form that you wanted it in. There's something about that, too. It's, like, really odd. Like, you keep getting things, but not in the form that you asked for. Or, like, be careful what you wish for kind of situations. I don't know. I'm hearing something about that, too. But yeah, definitely ups and downs with the Temperance card. Let's look at your Healing Spirits Oracle, too. Excuse me. Then we have the... Ooh. Lots of pretty blue and purple with that card. Once again, makes me think of water. We have trust in the wise spirits, and your prayer will be answered, number 33. So I wonder if a lot of you have actually been literally praying for something, which, of course, the whole action of dropping a coin into a wishing well is a prayer, is it not? It is the motion of asking for something from the universe by exchanging a coin. Yeah, you've been asking for something. Probably, my best intuitive guess here from what I'm picking up on from your energy, pile 3, is you've been asking for help with this dream of yours. And you're like, I really wish that this would manifest, but it's so odd because it's like these other things are manifesting, and it's this feast or famine kind of thing. But they're saying, pile 3, the thing that you've been praying for, the thing that you have been asking for will be answered. Okay, and I'm also hearing that it might be answered, or it might have been answered already, past tense, but just not in the way that you expected. Maybe that's that kind of weird manifestation thing I was picking up on earlier, where it's like, you ask for something and then you get it, but not really. It's like in a weird form, or not in the way that you expected. And then we have surrender to the magic of who you are. We all have magic in us, even in the mundane aspects of life. Remember that you are a magical being with a uniqueness and worth that comes from just being you. We kind of have that dreamy nature again. I don't know if that's a unicorn in the back. It's a white horse at the very least, which makes me think of the Knight of Cups too, because if I'm not mistaken, he traditionally is depicted riding on a white horse too, because he's like that dreamy knight, right? Surrender to the magic of who you are. I think this dream is also something very closely linked to who you are as a person. Pile 3, which I mean, I guess most dreams are. That's kind of a given, but very specifically, it's so linked to your soul. I'm hearing almost that you might have done this in a past life too. This goal or this dream that you've been trying to achieve, or like you tried to achieve it in a past life and you ran into some bumps and hiccups, and that's why, for some reason, for those of you especially, like if you're sitting there and you're like, well, for some reason I'm really drawn to this and I don't know why, that's why, is because it's like an unresolved goal or life purpose that you had from a past life that you weren't able to fully accomplish, or at least you weren't able to do it in the way that you like really wanted to. Or once again, it makes me think of that, be careful what you wish for, like things manifesting not exactly in the way that you expected, because I'm hearing too in that past life, or even multiple ones, that it's like, I don't know. There's something about getting there almost, but not quite. But that this life is the one that you're meant to actually achieve it. Okay? So when it says surrender to the magic of who you are, that means you at a soul level, pile 3, not just like you in this particular incarnation, right? You on a soul level. It's so linked to your soul and your spirit. And that's why you feel so drawn to doing it, okay? Let's look at your main tarot spread, and then we will see, too, if there's anything more about the prayer that you want answered. Obviously, like I said, it's related to the dream that you want, but... And then, of course, too, we'll ask more about, like, this new chapter after the difficulty of achieving the dream that you've been having. So, Spirit, tell me more about that. Thank you for pile 3. Also, this can mean that the wish will be granted in the next chapter. I forgot to mention that. So I kind of see all of these cards as reflective of both the difficulties that you've been going through as well as this new chapter. So first we have the Liar, which is in most decks known as the Devil in the first position. Okay, so the Devil, my friends, often means something where we feel caged. We feel stuck, we feel stagnant, we feel as if something's holding us back. The devil often represents the parts of us that either we're holding ourselves back or outside vices or outside people that have been holding us back. It's kind of oftentimes the card, I call it like a jail card, or it feels like a cage. It's a very cage kind of feeling. And so I think where you're coming from, especially as this is the first inciting incident card, I like to call that one in that first position of my spread, is that you before were living a life of that kind of caged stagnancy. I don't know if you were doing something that you didn't enjoy doing, really, you just didn't really like doing it, and it felt very stifling to your soul, because that's another thing with the devil, is that it's very stifling to your soul, whatever that energy pops up. And so, I wonder with the liar if it almost felt like you were living a lie. Not in a bad way, pile 3. You might have been doing a job where you're okay, well, it puts food on the table, right? But it's not really what I at a soul purpose, life purpose level, deep down want to do. But it almost felt like to yourself, you're well, am I living a lie? Am I really doing what I want to do? Am I really where I want to be? It doesn't even have to be linked to career or job, pile 3, but oftentimes that is how it manifests, right? And then in the second position, we have the Huntsman, which is justice in most decks. About the give and take. Makes me think of that moderation thing again. Especially the Huntsman, because it's about, life being introduced into the forest with the baby fawn here next to him and the doe. But the Huntsman also takes away. Okay. Justice. I think part of your goal is you want to live a more just life as well. Something more fair. Something more... Some of you might be literally moving into a career that's related to the legal system, or helping people in the legal system in some way, or helping people that are victims of crime. I'm hearing that as well. Because this is Spirit kind of saying, this is what's fueling this new chapter, is this energy of, okay, I break from the cage, I realize I want to do this thing that's justice-oriented. And also finds justice for myself in terms of my soul karma, where it comes to finally accomplishing this thing that my soul's wanted to do in multiple lifetimes, right? And then we have the Weaver, or the Queen of Spells or Wands reversed. Okay. But you don't have confidence in it right now, pile 3. You don't have confidence in it right now. That's usually what the Queen of Wands reversed means, is that we lack confidence in some way. We feel as if we're not ready for it. We feel as if, or even if we're ready for it, we feel as if, well, the prayer hasn't been answered yet, or it hasn't manifested yet. Therefore, I'm losing my hope for this thing. Okay. So that might be actually a bit of advice from Spirit to you, is not to lose your hope in this thing. Especially because this is the present position card. This is how you're feeling about it right at this moment. And they're well, why are you lacking confidence, pile 3? Okay. Then we have in the fourth position, the Seeker of Challenges, which is the Knight of Swords reversed. Okay. Could also be some advice. We'll talk about that in a second here. And then the final card is the Child of Challenges, which is the Page of Swords reversed. Okay. So, lots of court cards here at the end. Let me think about how I want to interpret this. And I'm also going to tap into Spirit here and ask some clarifying questions. So just a moment. Apologies for the silence, pile 3. Okay. They're saying, pile 3, what would bring this about in the next chapter even faster with this dream of yours, or this wish that you've had, is taking more action towards it. Throwing yourself into it more fully. I say that because the Knight of Swords reversed is often a card, when it's not a person specifically, it tends to represent energy of, and that's what I'm feeling intuitively drawn to here, is I don't think for most of you this is a person involved. So the energy of the Knight of Swords reversed is saying there's a situation where we have not been taking enough action regarding speaking about it or planning for it. It's that air energy of the mind, of the tongue, okay? And so by it being reversed, is it saying right now, because of your lack of confidence, you're on a trajectory in your next chapter to kind of being in this stasis with the wish or this stasis with the dream. You've been taking plenty of action in terms of dreaming, hence the Knight of Cups you got at the very beginning, and the Nine of Cups literally shown by this wishing well, okay? You've been saying to the universe, I want this thing. I want this thing. Please. Please bring it to me, right? But Spirit is saying here is that the only thing stopping you from achieving it, from that prayer getting answered, because remember your Healing Spirits Oracle, is it's almost like the intention needs to be put out there into the universe even more, especially through the element of air with that Knight of Swords reversed, of speaking more about it, planning more about it. It's not necessarily that you have to run into the tangible stage of the dream, or like the next tangible stage of the dream. It's that they want you to, I wonder, do you have like, I'm hearing something about more of a blocked throat chakra too, because oftentimes we hold things back in communication, or communicative ways when we have a blocked throat chakra. You might want to do some throat chakra meditations, pile 3, as one recommendation too. But they're saying it's like you're not getting denied this because it's not meant for you. You're not getting denied this because it's not that we don't want to answer your prayer. It's that we need more from your side in terms of saying more, in terms of planning more. Okay. And then on top of that, with the Page of Swords reversed at the very end, that's kind of similar advice because they're in the same court in tarot with being, of swords or air. However, that's more of exploratory type energy rather than taking action like the Knight. They're also saying, too, that like you need to do more than just dip a toe in, okay? And that will bring you to this next chapter of, okay, now I'm actually finding this prayer answered. It's just, there needs to be more on the tangible and thinking side rather than just the dreaming side. Okay. And I wonder too if maybe that's why Temperance Reversed came up in the very beginning, because I think part of maybe the difficulty of this past chapter with this dream for you, pile 3, is that I did see it as like ebbs and flows and like extremes in terms of like, maybe good weeks happening and then bad weeks happening, but it could also have been with your excitement and or your confidence with this particular dream or this wish. Is that one week you might be like, okay, now I'm gung-ho, full speed ahead, and then the next week you kind of like, oh, Queen of Wands reverse energy comes in, you're like, well, I'm not really sure, I didn't see this success or this thing, so I don't know if I should keep going or like keep asking for it, or things like that, you know what I mean? And so it's really what would solve it is that Queen of Wands reversed energy, pile 3, is more confidence in yourself. Okay, it's meant for you on a soul level. At the very core of your soul, this is a purpose for you. So Spirit is asking then why. It's funny because it's like you yearn and you dream for it, but then you keep thinking, well, it's not meant for me, or you keep thinking, well, I don't know if I should dip my toe in, or more than a toe in. But if you keep coming back to it to the point where I feel like it almost haunts you, maybe you even dream about it literally, pile 3, it is supposed to be for you, so why would you doubt that? I guess is what Spirit is trying to say. I'm also just going to ask more about this next chapter too, because a lot of this reading kind of turned into advice, but Spirit, what else do you want to say about the next chapter coming for them, especially maybe if they do heed the advice that we just discussed? We have the Moon, which is mysteries or illusions, and then we have the Six of Pentacles reversed. Interesting. There will be... Oh, let me draw one more. The Four of Cups. Okay, that makes sense. So there will be... there's something here about an illusion regarding the fairness or equal distribution of something that you're not paying attention to as well. I'm hearing that in this next chapter, you're going to realize that there was... an opportunity, I'm hearing, offered to you here that, like, see, this is why Spirit is telling you to be more confident, pile 3, because you might miss it if you don't believe in yourself enough, if you don't feel confident enough. There's an opportunity coming here that you might ignore, or you might not see as the true opportunity it is, because you have this belief that like, oh, there's no way someone would extend that charity to me, because that's another keyword with the Six of Pentacles is charity. Especially reversed, it feels as if, there is no charity for me. Like, oh, no one's going to help me. No one's going to want to help me succeed with this or offer anything to me. You have to believe it's meant for you, and you have to be confident in it. Otherwise, you're going to not see that opportunity clearly, and you might ignore it. Okay, but if you see it clearly, pile 3. If you believe in, yes, someone really would offer you an opportunity regarding this dream, then that's what this next chapter will revolve around, is getting that opportunity so long as you're willing to open your eyes and see it, okay? So please believe in the charity of others. Please believe in yourself. Please believe that your prayers will be answered, okay? Because this is meant for you. I'm hearing that very strongly. It's kind of the main message of today, is that the thing that you've been having difficulty with achieving, it's meant for you, okay, on a soul level, like I said, in terms of life purpose. So just remember that, okay? Don't let the opportunity pass you by, because this is supposed to be for you in this next chapter, okay? So there you go. That was your reading today on, well, what's coming next after you, or excuse me, for you after this difficult chapter that you've been going through. Sorry, I forgot the title for a second there. I was like, wait a minute. But yes, what's coming for you in this new chapter after the time of difficulty. I hope that the reading helped you. I hope that you liked it. I hope it resonated with your situation, of course, too. And if so, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, as this reading wraps up here very soon. And thank you so much if you choose to do those things. Every bit helps the channel a lot. So I'm very grateful for your interaction, your feedback, subscriptions, things like that. And yeah, as we say in our traditional Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day or your night, pile 3. And I hope to see you again in the woods someday soon. Bye-bye.